plays video games all day, and his wife is fed up.
Hey, what's up? Today we are going to be doing a fun Thanksgiving celebration video, as you can see by my cool overlay I just made. We just had ours, so I thought I'd sit down and make something fun, so I didn't have to do any gameplay critiques or anything. Let's jump right in. We're going to be seeing which Overwatch character every US president would have mained. So real quick, let me go swap to the actual comparison overlay. Okay, here we are. My face is very tiny right now, more than usual, just so nothing gets covered up while we're doing this. But this is going to be based off of pretty much my personal feelings, because there aren't really a whole lot of facts we can use when we're seeing Overwatch mains. It's not easy to be super objective here. And it's going to be based off my working knowledge of that president, unless I have net zero, which is pretty much everything after George Washington up until Ulysses Grant. That's like 16 or something like that. So I'm going to jump right in. Let me grab the first president image. All right, I have him up here. This is also completely unscripted, so I'm going to be doing a lot of uhs and not looking over to the script or anything. So George Washington, extreme Chad, founded the country pretty much. Didn't seek leadership. So I would make him he's a Rhine main. I know it's pretty basic, but I also have to make them really small. So I'm gonna pop him in here so there's enough for like 8. We shouldn't have 8 of the same main. Yeah, I'm gonna jump into the second one. Okay, so next up we have John Adams. I did not know very much about him besides his signature being on the Declaration. So I browsed a couple read Wikipedia. Seems pretty average. He didn't do anything horrible, didn't do anything all that great. All about law. Very law-like, all about the Union guy. So I'm assigning him to McCree. Sorry if any McCree mains are offended, but yeah, not super interesting, but you know, gets the job done. No Woodrow Wilson, not too big of a dickhead as far as I know. Let's go to the next one. Okay, up next is Thomas Jefferson. He was number 3. Pretty forward thinking, wasn't for slavery. So I would put him in somewhat of a Chad. He also was kind of a dickhead when it came to Adams, our McCree player. So characters that are a dick to McCree. Well, let me think about what we have here. Okay, so I'm going to assign him, I'm going to make him a Tracer main because he kind of bothers McCree, or our John Adams, who is on McCree. No other reasoning behind it because I don't think I need a whole lot of reasoning because we're doing presidents to Overwatch mains. Let's do the next one. Okay, up next is James Madison. The biggest fact I found about him was he was one of the only sitting presidents to lead troops into battle during his presidency. I think that's pretty alpha. So I'm going to throw him onto... I want to do Ryan again, in all honesty. Do Winston. No. Yeah, we'll do Winston, not Ball. Do Winston. In between those two. All right, there he is. Let's hop into the next one. Okay, up next is
James Monroe.
The only super interesting thing I found was that he was somewhat anti-colonialism, which is pretty rare back then, considering we were all about imperialism and all that. So I'm going to pop him on Symmetra because she has those little turrets to stop people from moving in. I'm extremely excited to get out of the presidents I know very little about, so I can look even less knowledgeable when I spout out facts that might not even be true. All right, up next is John Quincy Adams. Did not know much about him besides he has a wicked, let me unblur it for you guys, a wicked wraparound, a la the one teacher from Ned's Declassified, which I'm gonna put an image up of right now, right where my finger is. But he was extremely qualified for the position. He was ambassador to like 5 places, a senator, secretary of state, confirmed to the Supreme Court unanimously, president, and a 9-term congressman. So he was extremely good at his job, perhaps qualified, perhaps too qualified. Like Baptiste in the support role. Too much, perhaps. Boom. All right, let's do the next one. Okay, up next is Andrew Jackson. I am going to be using my working knowledge of this guy. Mind you, this is what was gotten from a Pennsylvania high school, so could be a bit biased, but he seems to be a general dickhead. was kind of an asshole when it came to the natives of America, and was pretty against centralized banking, which I love because it guarantees that the dollar will not suddenly become worthless. So I love having my money continue to have worth. So because of his general dickheadery, he's a brig main. All right, there it is. Let's do the next one. Okay, up next is Martin Van Buren. Only recently learned of his presidency at all, and used it for some trivia. So, you know, he's certainly on my good side right now. Unfortunately, he did kind of continue Jackson's being a dickhead in regards to currency. Did I say I was working off my working knowledge? I actually just Googled it. But, you know, he's on my good side currently, a little bit, because of the trivia. And he continued anti-currency. I think I'm gonna pop him on to May. I don't have a good reason. I think it's that facial hair with May's fur on the coat. That's where he's going. Like I said, you're not gonna fight. This isn't gonna be a very well-reasoned comparison here. So that's him. Let's do the next one. All right, now making sure it's still recording is William Henry Harrison, which famously died 30 days into his presidency from pneumonia. Who do we know that always dies 30 seconds into the fight? I'll give you a second. You're right. I know who you answered. It was Genji. You're absolutely correct because you're agreeing with me. So he is a Genji main. Right there. The next one. Okay, up next is John Tyler, Mr. I Have Two First Names, who took over after Mr. Harrison. He did not win re-election then after, I don't believe. No, he didn't. And he was also extremely pro-slavery. So, general asshole, not even becoming president off his own coattails. He lost the race. So for that, I'm making him a ball main. He's a ball main. All right, the next one. Okay, up next is James K. Polk, which he has a fantastic, I can't remember the dad's name, but Draco Malfoy's dad, Lucius Malfoy haircut, which is fantastic. He brought us a lot closer to Civil War by being an asshole when it came to slavery, and was all about Manifest Destiny and killing some Indians, or Native Americans. So for that, I'm going to make him a dickhead Junkrat main. I'm sorry to Junkrat mains. I'm sure this video will probably be my most disliked one. There it is. The next one. All right, up next is Zachary Taylor. Didn't know much about this guy. He did keep on threatening the South that if they secede, he was going to come kick their asses. So kept that from happening for a bit. So I think that's a little bit Chad of him. So I'm gonna make him. I thought about this before, and I still hadn't came to an answer. So you're watching me decide. Watch my brain click along while I'm doing it. He will be a Reaper main. I think that's gonna be Chad of him. All right. Go again. All right, up next is Millard Fillmore, not a president I knew of up until now. From what Reddit says, he is the first of the 3 worst presidents pretty much ever. Continued slavery, made it, or allowed it to continue out west. It was all about that. So for this dickhead, I'm gonna make him a Doomfist main. Not that he was doing anything Chad-like, because some Dooms are pretty Chad. Where'd he go? There he went. This guy is one of those Dooms that he will get out of spawn, use all cooldowns, and he'll be in the middle of the enemy team with no cooldowns, die, and ask where his heals were. So one of those Doomfists. Alright, let's go to the next one. Okay, up next is Franklin Pierce, who appears to be an extreme dickhead. All about slavery. Was actually from, let me double check, was actually from New England, and decided, you know what, fuck these guys, I'm all about slavery. And he brought us a lot closer to the Civil War. So, and a famous comment, or I think could be a famous comment, he is the poo-poo to Fillmore's pee-pee, which I think is pretty good. Let me look at where I ranked Fillmore real quick. Since Fillmore was on Doom, I'm going to make him Moira. He is the Moira that just goes out in DPSs, while the Doom goes out and uses all his cooldowns. He goes out in DPSs, and then says he has all the golds. In all reality, it doesn't matter. Okay, up next is James Buchanan, who also seems to be an ass. Like I said, the line of 3. He did nothing about the upcoming secession of the South. Just let them do whatever, and then he left office happily as can be. So I'm actually going to make him a Moira main as well, but unfortunately he can't play Moira because Pierce already took her. So he's gonna be playing Zen, and he sucks at Zen. He doesn't even he doesn't put harmony on or about anyone. Doesn't call out his discords. Gets silver damage and thinks he's an Overwatch god. Do the next one. This is Abraham Lincoln. He is an alpha Chad. Killed slavery, got us through the Civil War, got the Union back together. He is a Sigma main. He does what needs to be done. He does what he needs to do, sorry. When Ball's out, doing whatever Ball does, he's protecting the team with his shield, using cooldowns perfectly. He's got another person with the shield up, got to rhyme with him. He's off angling, getting a ton of value. No matter what, he's doing the right thing. Definitely GM, and if he's not, he spends too much time coaching other people. The next one. All right, up next is another one that I know quite a bit, not quite a bit, but I know about. I did not have to research, which was, I'm looking at his name, not research. Andrew Johnson. He pretty much did a horrible job and squandered a lot of the stuff Lincoln did with bringing the Union back together. He let the South off scot-free and pretty much paved the way for Jim Crow laws. So I didn't actually think about what main to put him on, so I'm going to cut to think about that. All right, I'm going to make him an Orisa main. He picks the character because she synergizes with Sigma, or she used to, but he plays her like crap, doesn't know when to use any of his cooldowns, throws shield wherever, and he tries to pull the evil toaster flanks. Asshole. General asshole. The next one. All right, up next is Ulysses S. Grant, another Chad. I don't know much about his policy, but I know what he did in the war. He helped win it. I know this is probably an easy one, but I'm just going to put him in, I'm going to give him Ryan as well. All right, up next is Rutherford B. Hayes. I don't know much about this guy, and Reddit threads were pretty bare. He wasn't for slavery or anything, but he didn't do an insane job of protecting those freed slaves' rights. So seeing that he's kind of meh, wasn't really contributing much, I'm going to make him a Lucio that is on heals and amps at the wrong times. Doesn't know when to beat. He'll beat, after half the enemy team's dead, or if it's just him alive, just, not contributing what he could be to the fight. Okay, up next is James Garfield. Couldn't find a lot about him either. He did have an incredibly prolonged death due to his during his assassination. His doctors insisted he be fed rectally. So, due to that sole fact I know about him and prolonging his death, Diva's death gets prolonged pretty often. So, I'm gonna do that. I'm a lot like a caveman. Death go long like Diva, so he Diva. Pretty much the astrological signs of the presidents at this point, with my reasonings for stuff. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, up next is Chester Arthur. I'm going to base this off the sole fact that he is the president that, or helped outlaw polygamy. So he is a character that is against a brawl-like comp that all play together. So I'm going to say Torb, because Torb and his Turk can hold different angles. All right, up next is Grover Cleveland. And he was the first president with 2 non-consecutive terms. I don't know if it's the only one. I haven't read that far in the list, and I don't actually know. But he's going to be a character that you swap on and off of frequently. I'm going to put him in Soldier, just because if you die and you need to come back quickly, Soldier has the sprint ability, which makes it so you run faster. So I will put him on Soldier. All right, up next is Benjamin Harrison, which was the last bearded president we had. I hope Biden doesn't grow an incredible beard, because that sure would ruin this video. But for that, I'm going to put him on Torb as well, just because they share beards. The next one. Up next is Grover Cleveland, again, the Alpha Chad. He's going back on Soldier, just because I think it's going to make the thumbnail look good if I have more presidents in it. So he's going to go on the same person he was on before. All right, up next is William McKinley, who I'm basing solely on his follow-up president. He made TR the VP, and TR became president because of his assassination. So he helped enable another hero. So for that, he is Mercy. All right, up next we have Teddy Roosevelt, another Alpha Chad. Helped establish the first National Park Service, I believe. I'm not working based off Reddit knowledge right now, but he did all that. Like I said, an Alpha Chad. An exotic game, which I'm not all for, but it is Chad-like. It is certainly Chad-like. So for that, I'm going to make him Ash. So off we go to the next one. William Howard Taft. I am going to work off my knowledge here, which is that he was overweight, and that's really all I know about his presidency, unfortunately. So with that, I'm going to assign him to Roadhog. Off we go. All right, up next we have Woodrow Wilson. who was a huge white supremacist and general asshole. So I don't actually know what he did. I think he was president during World War I. I'm not quite sure. Probably not now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, general asshole. So I'm gonna assign him to a hacking widow because I don't know how he got to be president, being that racist. All right, up next is Warren G. Harding, who apparently was a extremely shitty president. He seemed to have no idea what he was doing. Extremely unqualified. Was also somewhat of an asshole, and is most known for his quotes such as, "Oftentimes I don't seem to grasp that I am president." With that, I'm going to assign him to Bastion, which people very new to Overwatch, they'll pick him and go, "Oh, he has the big gun, so he does the big damage." So there he is. Off we go. All right, up next is Calvin Coolidge. This is probably the deepest dive I did into policy out of everyone thus far. He was a very anti-union type of guy. He presided over one of our most prosperous times, but his dickheadery led to the Dust Bowl out west for poor farmers. So with that, I'm gonna give him to... I'm gonna make him a Pheromane that does well when he has a Mercy pocket, but then when Mercy doesn't play all that well, or he doesn't have Mercy, he plays like shit and blames the team. That's probably my most fact-filled thing, so if you're here for the facts, you might want to tune out. All right, up next is Herbert Hoover, who I nearly mixed up with J. Edgar Hoover. That would have been great. But Herbert Hoover did a very poor job of dealing with the Depression, and had quite a bit of shantytown is named Hoovervilles, so I think that says a good amount about him. So I think we're gonna put him on a feast or famine type of character. Let's make him another poor Genji main. Very, very poor Genji main. Never gets any big blades. You save nano, damage boost, everything for him. And he provides 0 value to the fight. Up next is Franklin Roosevelt. He led us into World War II. Put out the New Deal. Helped out a lot of Americans who weren't doing so well in a way that Mr. Hoover could not. So because of his, I would say, Chad-like capabilities, he's an enabler. I would make him, I'd say he's an Animane. He's an nano. Fires off some huge nanos, always enabling his team. Maybe his sleep zone always hit, but, you know, he's doing his best. He plays well. Off to the next one. All right, up next is Harry Truman, who helped end World War II, and he ended it with not as many casualties as there could have been. He did drop some insane nuclear weapons on people, but he ended it much quicker, or resulted in less casualties than I would say a huge bloodsheddy fight would be. And because he ended the fight before it would generally have ended with less ult generation stuff, I'm going to give him Hog. And once you get a hook, the fight's pretty much over. All right, up next is Dwight Eisenhower, who was the founding father of the military-industrial complex, all about guns and stuff. So I'm going to quickly assign him to Junkrat, which now that I'm thinking about it, I could have made him my first Echo, but, you know, I don't want to re-record this part. All right, off to the next one. All right, up next is JFK. I also noticed my background was moved over a little bit, so I fixed that. Another Alpha Chad. He's a charmer for sure. Extremely handsome. I'm gonna make him McCree. McCree's a charmer. He's American. JFK is American. All the presidents were, but so's he. Boom. He's McCree for the right reasons. Unlike, John Adams, I think. I don't quite remember which president that was. Let's go to the next one. Up next is Lyndon B. Horse Johnson. He is a huge Chad. And for his Chad abilities, I'm gonna make him a Chad Doomfist. Now, he's not burning his cooldowns. Maybe he uses them a little bit too liberally, but who cares? He gets picks. He doesn't give a shit. Maybe he flames in chat. You know, it happens. He flames. You win the game. Who cares? Who cares how hard he flames? Off to the next one. Up next is Richard Nixon. Oh! He's you know, we all know the Watergate thing. So since he's all sneaky and whatnot, I'm gonna give him Sombra. Not realizing I should have used his Futurama head in a jar, but whatever. To the next one we go. All right, up next is Gerald Ford. He sent more troops to Vietnam, and he pardoned Nixon. What? I totally knew that and didn't Google it. So for that general dickheadery, I'm gonna make him a Alger that contributes virtually nothing to the fight and still flames his team. Part of the reason for that maybe because I would like to have every character filled in, but I don't think that's gonna happen by this point. to pre-plan this a little bit better. Well, to the next one we go. All right, up to Jimmy Carter. Not an amazing president, but he is so wholesome, so extremely wholesome. In fact, I would say too wholesome for Overwatch. I didn't mention that there was a non-Overwatch player one down here. He doesn't play the game, but you know, son plays it. He'll watch it on Twitch with him. He'll ask questions like, "Oh, what's that character?" He pretends to be interested. He's not, but you know, he's just glad his kid's having fun. Go to the next one. All right, up next is Ronald Reagan. Huge charmer. Not amazing policy, in my opinion, but you know, can't help but like him. So I'll give him Zarya. He's a Zarya that you know, maybe he doesn't have the best bubbles or the best grabs, but you know, they're there. He does what he needs to do, and you know, he's good in comms. You know, he's always calling plays out and stuff. So you know, he's a good guy to have on your team, even if he's not the best mechanically. All right, up next is George HW. It is pretty hard to find information on HW because nobody really talks all that much about him. It's more about just W. But since W came after him, it's kind of like an Echo ult, you know, Echo ult, and it's somebody else, but it's still kind of them. You know, it's George W wasn't George HW, but there's still Georges, and there's still W's. There's still Bush. I'm sure that makes sense. I'm not just trying to fill in the last empty one. Right? Alright, next is Bill Clinton. Okay. Sure. Let's, he's a Chad. For his own reasons, for sure. I'm gonna give him Reaper. But he's one of those Reapers that, you know, every time he ults, even if he doesn't get a bunch of kills, he does the shrug emote. That kind of guy. You know, he's always in voice chat. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? Saw that. Let's go to the next one. Alright, up next is George W this time. He was a little bit before my time, but I do know a good amount about his policy. Not a fan of it. He was all about, you know, just going bam in other countries, without, you know, really knowing all that much about it. But you know, he's a nice guy. I'm gonna put him on the Junkrat. He's a Junkrat main for sure. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, up next is Barack Obama. He is absolutely a Genji main, but not like the other two. No, this guy has some insane blades. He doesn't even need nano. He'll kill the whole team. He always gets the right picks. He knows who to target. He knows what to do. He's good with his neutral game. He's a nice guy. You know, he's calming. He calms. Even playing as Genji. You know, he's just that kind of guy. Off to the last one. All right, lastly we have President Trump. I think it's pretty easy to see where I'm going with this one. He you know, does, you know, the wall. The Mei hero. Her ability makes an ice wall. So you get it. All right, that's the last one. I'm only gonna do presidents also because this is taking forever. Thank you for watching. I hope this wasn't too boring. Have a good one.